Ladies and gentlemen, as you guys know, Season 1 Reloaded is officially here. It came out last night or yesterday for Call of Duty Vanguard, and as of right now, it is out for Warzone. And what I generally like to do when a season happens or a Season Reloaded happens is go over everything that is new in that update. Now, today's is an interesting one because it's not so much a Season Reloaded as it is just an update for the game. An update that is definitely needed and still an update that I don't think is enough. I'm just being honest when it comes to that. Now, as far as these videos go, generally I hop in game, show you what's new, show you what you can expect. But again, today's is a little bit different. Let me explain. Now, the reason why I say it's different is really there is nothing for me to hop in game and show you that it is new. Everything that is new, we talked about yesterday. The new weapon, the new operator, everything along those lines. The things that are actually new in this update are quite literally patch notes. And I've talked about this before. I don't necessarily like making videos like this where I go in and just read through the patch notes with you guys and explain what is new. But that is really all this video is about, is the patch notes, because really what changed in this update is the weapon changes, things to certain weapons and a lot of things to specific attachments. So what we're going to be doing in this video is going through and I'm going to be showing you everything that has actually changed, including the playlist, everything like that, because it's simply all in the patch notes and I don't want to waste any of your time. So without further ado, let me show you what I'm talking about. So first things first, what we have here is the different playlists over the next few weeks. So as of January 13th, we have Vanguard Plunder, Battle Royale, Solos, Duos, Trios, and Quads. And then finally, Rebirth Island, Resurgence, Duos, Trios, and Quads. These playlists change very minimally over the next couple of weeks, and we are updated up to January 27th, which shortly after that, we should be getting updated on Season 2. Hence why this update isn't the biggest. As you can see, when we dive into modes here, we have Vanguard Plunder. That's kind of the new thing. There's nothing new there. It's just on the Caldera. That is all you need to know. When it comes to bug fixes, there's quite a bit here, and I think they did a pretty good job addressing most of the big bugs. There's still some things missing there. We'll go into those maybe tomorrow or the next day. You'll see what I mean when we dive into that. But as far as these goes, they're fixing things like crashing issues on PlayStation 5, Xbox, things along those lines. Other specific issues, for example, packed powder doing extra damage, they've nerfed that. Double barrels, things along those lines. If you really want to read through all of these, you can pause it. But like I said at the beginning, I don't want to waste your time. The next thing we have here is the new weapon, which is the Gun Smg. This is one I can actually see being pretty good in game. It's good in Vanguard. The question is it also going to be good in Warzone? We will find out as of tonight. Then we get into the weapon changes. So the assault rifle alpha from Vanguard, they decreased the visual recoil. You're going to see this a lot throughout the assault rifles. The hotel assault rifle recoil decreased and recoil deviation decreased. After that, the AS-44, by the way, I don't know why they title some of these Assault Rifle Alpha, for example, and other ones the actual weapon names, but that's what they're doing in the patch notes. Overly confusing, I know. No reason for it, I know, but I'm not the one writing these. But the S44, we have initial recoil decrease and the recoil deviation decreased as well. The NZ41, a similar thing, recoil deviation decreased slightly, and recoil ramp up now occurs one bullet later. So in other words, less recoil to most of the assault rifles. That's what you need to know. It kind of makes it more competitive with the Bren, which we'll dive into in a second. After this, shotgun. The revolving shotgun, we have hip spread increased slightly. This isn't going to change too much, but it's going to be slightly less accurate now. After this, it's surprising. I know, I thought they'd touch a lot more weapons, but we dive into attachments. Now, attachment nerfs are actually a bigger thing than you may think. The main reason for that is because attachments are actually what make a lot of weapons really good. However, I still think they didn't do enough with weapon nerfs and buffs. We'll dive into that at the end of the video. But first off, we have the Cooper Carbine, the compressed rounds, the horizontal recoil decreased by 1.04 down from 1.05, and visual recoil decreased slightly. Really not much there to pay attention to. Then we get into some things that don't make any sense, and you'll see what I mean as I read these. So first off, they list the assault rifle alpha, and then specifically the barrel, the VDD 760mm. It says visual recoil decreased, and as a bullet point, just Cooper Carbine. I don't know what that means at all, but they list it. After this, we have the 22-inch barrel. First of all, sprint to fire speed decreased by 1.2, down from 1.3. Pretty straightforward there. The light machine gun Charlie, we have the Queen's 705mm Royale. And as far as this one goes, no longer removes damage fall off. Now multiplies damage range by 1.5 up from 1.1. And horizontal recoil control decreased by 1.36 down from 1.37. That's a buff there. A light machine gun. It's already pretty good. I don't know why. I don't know why the weapon itself wasn't touched, but that's what they did. After this, we have the submachine gun Charlie. We have the Krosnik 317mm. They decreased the hip fire accuracy by 6.4%. The gun perk next, we have the double barrel in Vanguard Akimbo. Hip spread accuracy decreased by 40%, down from 32%. Essentially, they made the hip fire accuracy 8% worse. That's how they should have worded it. That's not how they worded it. Again, we'll talk about this later this week. After this, magazines. So on the Assault Rifle Alpha, the 7.62 50 round mag, visual recoil decreased, so that's a buff there. The Cooper Carbine in Vanguard, they have the .30 Carbine 45 round mags, move speed increased by 4%, aim down sight speed increased by 1%, horizontal recoil control decreased by 1.28, down from 1.3, and visual recoil decreased as well by the same amount. After this, the light machine gun Charlie, we have the 40 round mag, we have vertical recoil increased and horizontal recoil increased as well. So that's a nerf to the weapon that a lot of people are using right now. After this, we have the Assault Rifle Charlie, the Mercury Silencer, the vertical recoil increased as well as the horizontal by quite a substantial amount, but nothing that you'll really notice too much. The MX Silencer, horizontal recoil increased as well from 1.049 up from 1.036. Again, these are not things you're going to break the weapons or anything like this. It'll just change up the attachment just a little bit. After this, the Assault Rifle Hotel, we have the Mercury Silencer once again, vertical recoil increased, horizontal recoil increase, and visual recoil decrease. So that's probably one of the more confusing ones. Visually, it'll appear as though there's less recoil, but there actually is more recoil. Very confusing, I know. The MX Silencer, ADS speed decreased by 5.1% up from 4. So when they say this, when they say something like that in the patch notes, really the number you want to take away, it is decreased by 1.1%. At least that's what I am taking away from it at this point, but it's very confusing how they word it. I get it. I just kind of want to make sense of it for you guys, if you will. And then the horizontal recoil is increased by a little bit as well. The revolving shotgun, we have the M97 full choke. The ADS spread decreased to 0.9 up from 8.5, so by 0.01. Again, I just want to stress this. I will talk about this later this week. It makes zero sense that they are talking about some things in percents and some things by numbers. It is pointless that they do that, and again, we'll talk about it later this week. Then we move into the rear grips. First of all, the Pine Tar grip, the ADS speed decreased by 0.9% is essentially what you need to know. I'm just going to start translating these as we go. And vertical recoil increased by 0.01. The rubber grip now decreases the idle sway by 5%, and the vertical recoil increased by a little bit as well. The Assault Rifle Hotel, the polymer grip, the visual recoil decreased slightly. That one's pretty straightforward. Moving into the stocks, we have the Assault Rifle Alpha once again, the Krosnik folding stock. We have a visual recoil decrease slightly. That's a visual thing. That is something you will notice, but doesn't actually change stats in game. The Cooper Carbine, the remove stock, the horizontal recoil decreased and the vertical recoil decreased, as well as the visual recoil. That's actually a big one because this is a weapon you can use up close, and with that removed stock, it's going to make it a little bit better. The recoil is going to appear a little bit better, which is a good thing. The revolving shotgun, the removed stock, the accuracy increased by a little bit, and as well as the VDD Hunter, the hip fire accuracy increased by 5.6%, down from 7.6, but in other words, by 2%. Why they can't write that? I don't know. Moving to the underbarrels, the Assault Rifle Alpha. First of all, the Carver foregrip, visual recoil decreased similarly with the hand stop as well. Assault Rifle Charlie, we have the Carver foregrip, the vertical recoil increased by a little bit, and the visual recoil decreased slightly. So moving on to the Strife Angled, I just want to continue to talk about how poorly I think these are written. You see how the Carver grip here, it gives us a number and then a number it changed from? The next one for the Strife Angled, it now increases the vertical recoil by this amount. It doesn't give us the old amount. We'll talk about it later this week. And then finally, the Assault Rifle Hotel, we have the Carver foregrip. The ADS speed decreased by 1%. The hip spread accuracy increased slightly. The horizontal control increased slightly. The vertical recoil increased as well, and the visual recoil decreased. So you're going to see that a lot with the visual recoil. A lot of things, a lot of attachments, a lot of weapons. Visual recoil has been decreased. That's just a visual thing, not the actual weapon, just what you see. It does make a difference, and it's going to make it easier to use, but it's not the actual stats. Finally, the hand stop, the horizontal recoil increased, as well as the idle sway was decreased. The vertical recoil was increased as well, and the visual recoil was decreased slightly. Essentially, the last two things we have here are new. First of all, we have the new operator, as well as the Attack on Titan bundle that I believe once again is coming out on January 20th. We've talked about this in the past 2 videos, so really should be no surprise there whatsoever. So we've gone through all the patch notes at this point. Now, I just want to summarize. A lot of attachments were changed. Not a lot of weapons were changed. From everything I'm reading, the meta is not really going to change from this update, but they did say later on in the patch notes that they are working on some bigger changes for some specific weapons. In other words, the weapons that are the meta weapons right now. We don't need to go in depth with that because as of right now, they have not changed that. This is not enough to make the meta what people will want it. So I think it's fair to say, with adding basically no new content and not really changing up the weapons much, this is not the update people wanted. Now, I don't know why they worded a lot of the patch notes the way they did. We will discuss that later on this week. I have a video coming out, I believe on Friday, where we'll talk about the state of Warzone and everything that's going on behind the scenes. We will talk about that. But for now, these are the patch notes. This is what changed. Hopefully I could clarify it for you guys. And if you enjoyed the video, appreciate it if you hit that like button. If you're new, subscribe, all of that jazz. Thank you for watching. Sorry if just reading through the patch notes was boring. Guarantee you later this week, I got a better video coming. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars, but we're